Finally, there's one other interesting thing in Lindsay's second baseball paper, and that relates to home field advantage. It might even be the first academic and analytical piece on the home field advantage in baseball to really describe it. What is reported in Lindsay's paper, and this is a direct quote, is a small inhomogeneity probably does exist between the visiting and home halves of any inning. The home team won 55% of the major league games in 1958 and 54.7 of the 1,000 games in 1959. Well, I wrote a small SQL query to analyze just this question. And here it is. More data described by Lindsay in this paper is that there were 4.5 runs scored at home on average and 4.38 runs as the road team in the 1959 sample. And this looks different. So this might lead to what he's calling this small inhomogeneity between home and visiting halves of the inning, and he shows these different run scoring numbers leading to that. So I wrote this small SQL snippet, and it's got this case statement which is new. So select year date. This takes the date field in the games table and converts it to a year. The year function in MySQL takes the date form and makes it a year. So that becomes YR, the YR variable. Then we do a sum of a case statement. And the case says when the home score from the games table and retro sheet, when the home score is greater than the visitor's score, make it a 1. This is a little trick to add up the games where the home team wins. If the home team doesn't have a greater score than the visitor score, make it a 0, which means it wouldn't be counted. So we're counting all the times the home team won, and we're calling, here's the case statement, it ends here. That will be added together, and we'll call that home wins. And the count star function we've seen before is total games, because I'm grouping by year. Okay, the grouping by the year variable is here. So we're counting all the games in when we group by the different years from this select statement here, and we're just going to take the years 1901 on. Now this little SQL query yields something, and we'll go to the sandbox and I'll show you what this yields. And you could move this into your favorite spreadsheet program and start analyzing these data. After I jump to the sandbox, I'll jump back here and talk about some of these data that Lindsay reported. So here we are back in the SQL sandbox, and we are on the RetroSheet database, the games log database from RetroSheet in our SQL sandbox. And what I've done is upload this query that we had that I described earlier. And here's the query with the new case statement that you haven't seen before. And this is a little trick to count home wins, the number of wins by the home team. And we're also going to get the number of total games played in a given year. We're going to group by year so that we're just going to look at different years. SQL will group those together, and we'll do it from 1901 on. So let's run this query. Let's run check here. Going, processing. And here's our result. Starting in 1901, the home team wins 613 games, and there were 10 total games played that year. We've got 30 rows showing of 113 rows. Since 1901 into 2013, there's been 113 years of data collected. And what we're showing here are the home wins with our little case statement trick and the total games. I can take these data just as they are and download and analyze them in a spreadsheet. So I encourage you to do that so you can see it yourself. I just wanted to show this in the SQL sandbox that we can do some home field advantage scripting in SQL. So just some descriptive statistics. Since 1901, the average home field advantage, and I got this from my own spreadsheet analysis, of the data from my SQL query, the average home field advantage is 53.91%. And the standard deviation of that data set is 1.46%. So that's the standard deviation, and the home field advantage since 1901 looks like 53.9, call it 54%. I also did it since 1955, just because I sort of like to start with that year, see what it's like. Again, the home field advantage is 53.87, not much different, virtually the same, and the standard deviation of this is a little bit better. It's 1.20%. So since 1955, the home field advantages have been more tightly coalescing around 54%, And this is near what Lindsay reports early on when he does his analysis of 58 and 59. Now, interestingly, in 1958, when you do the whole season, when you analyze the whole season of 58, the whole season, there's 676 wins by the home team, and there's 1,235 games played. Now, Lindsay only looked at 782 or so he didn't look at all professional games. When you do this analysis, the home field advantage in 1958 is 54.74%. That's the home field advantage in 1958. So it's a little different than what he reports, not too far off. 1959, when you look at the whole year with our little SQL query trick here to get at home field advantage, you get 667 home team wins over 1,238 total games. That home field advantage is 53.88%. And that's slightly different than Lindsay reports in his data sample from 1959 of 1,000 games. Again, you can see they're very close to this 54%. So baseball has a home field advantage of 54%. That's a number sabermetricians should keep in their back pocket. They should understand this. The reasons why have been explored by other analysts, where the home field advantage comes from. There's a fabulous book called Scorecasting, which talks about this, home field advantage, in baseball and other sports. Lots of different speculation, lots of different potential reasons why, but it's very clear home field advantage is 54%. But again, let's give Lindsay credit for being one of the pioneers of trying to understand better home field advantages, and he reports it in his second baseball paper that we've been discussing. The progress of the score during a baseball game.